Well, good morning. Wonderful to be here. I think I have to discuss with my scheduler her priorities because I could have been here last night and spent the day here as opposed to coming fast and unfortunately going quickly as well. Well, I'd like to begin by thanking Bo and Betty for the invitation and for your gracious hospitality and for inviting me to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is economic development and student career success. And certainly you've energized me in thinking about what all the possibilities are. Well, these are areas important to Penn State. They're areas important to the Commonwealth. I'm most appreciative that the Senator and Representative are here supporting this community and with, I know, a keen interest in economic development. So over the past year, I've been looking closely at Penn State's role in economic development and student career success. And I have to tell you, everywhere I go, and I hope the same is true here, everywhere I go, people are incredibly enthusiastic. And the faculty are enthusiastic, and the students are enthusiastic. You would be amazed at how many students now are asking for an appointment so they can pitch their company to me, because they all of a sudden sense the interest that is occurring in the university in terms of fostering the success of our faculty and our students in this arena. That I-99 corridor, what you're doing here, becomes an incredibly important part of the puzzle. You're situated in a great place to do great things for the Commonwealth and your community. And look at that list of areas and topics, from many of them like additive manufacturing, connecting very closely to Penn State. Partnership to Penn State becomes incredibly important in this equation, and one of the reasons why I really enjoy traveling around the state and beginning to talk about it. Let's think about the potential for a minute. So here's Penn State research, 4 years in a row of over $800 million in expenditures. Puts us 17th in the nation among all universities in the amount of sponsored research that we have. We just passed last year the University of Pennsylvania. I've heard they're a pretty good school, but they're back there. I hope you will help us keep them back there. Okay. Our federal research support has increased by over 50% during the last decade. Now think for a moment about what's happened to federal expenditures over the last decade, and then think about Penn State increasing its federal grants and contracts by 50%. That tells you that when you're good, you still end up on top. When your faculty are willing to write another proposal in order to get the money to support their research, or their ideas are so well articulated and so thoughtful and so innovative that you convince people to give you funds for those ideas, that you're a strong program. It's the people that are a little weaker that are dropping off that list. I have another one that I like a lot, and that is the National Science Foundation keeps track of the universities by program in terms of where they rank in terms of grants and contracts. So one of the things we're keenly interested in, and I can tell by your list we're keenly interested in, is the STEM fields: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So Penn State is in the top 10 in research funding in 12 different disciplines. Top 10 in research funding in 12 different STEM disciplines. That puts us second in the nation in the number of our disciplines in the top 10. Second in the nation. We are, to be perfectly honest, tied with someone else. That someone else is MIT. I've also heard they're a pretty good university. This is a statement of the power of the research engine that is at Penn State University. The opportunities are tremendous. Now, how do we rank in getting our IP into the marketplace? Well, we're 62nd. 17th in funding, tied for number 2 in the number of top 10 disciplines in STEM funding, 62nd in getting our IP to the marketplace. I don't like to be 62nd in anything, okay? This is not the way Penn State thinks. And if you watch Penn State's history, what you discover is every time that university sets its mind to something, they accomplish it. Great educational institution, go back 25 years ago and they said, we will become a great research institution, and you watched it climb. And here we felt this obligation to teach and do a good job. We felt this obligation to do research and transfer that knowledge through publications. After all, if we hold knowledge too closely, it isn't knowledge. We didn't share it with anybody else. Now is a new opportunity to think, just like teaching, just like publishing and sharing that knowledge, getting our intellectual property into the marketplace to drive the economy of this state should come as naturally to us as educating a student and publishing a paper. That's the path that we're on today in terms of promoting economic development. Okay, partnerships are incredibly important in this, as I said. We've called this initiative Invent Penn State, the ingenious power of partnership. The Invent Penn State is deliberate because it's an invitation to you and everybody else in this Commonwealth to help invent Penn State in a mode in which we do a better job of promoting economic development. Okay, so how are we going to do this? It actually, from my viewpoint, requires a very comprehensive look at the institution and the things that we should do. You can see many, many different press reports out there about an institution that started some initiative. I think it's very rare to sit there and see an institution that is going to look at this comprehensively in terms of what we might do. So here are some examples. First thing, we need to energize the culture within Penn State University. So let's think about those partnerships. One, we're proposing, and this year will begin to start hiring entrepreneurs in residence to be within our programs and to be within our colleges and to be within our Commonwealth campuses. And the whole idea here is this is someone who's been there and done it. I don't mind if they operate their business as long as it doesn't have a conflict of interest. What I want them to do is rub elbows with our faculty and students as someone who was an engineer, created a business, delivered products into the marketplace, and now is going to listen to all those other engineers and the things that they're doing. And the idea here is that every great inventor needs a great entrepreneur in order to get an idea to the marketplace. So here I've got a chemist, and they're sitting there studying something, and everything in their DNA is, I made a discovery, and then they've got to find out what's behind door B. They don't make a discovery and lift their head up and say, I think I'll take this to the marketplace. That's not the way faculty in the U.S. have operated. So what we want to do is put the partner next to them. Put the partner that's been there and done that will assist them in getting that idea into the marketplace. That power of partnership to combine the great entrepreneur with the great inventor. So start to imagine Penn State being populated by individuals like this. And imagine right along with it that as faculty members, not by virtue of a terminal degree, but by virtue of their experience, that those faculty members, as they get together, will start to alter the curriculum that is provided from students in terms of what the opportunities are. We're funding at the tune, I think it'll hit $1.5 million, projects that are partnerships within the university with the sole purpose of moving an idea closer to the marketplace. You know, faculty love money. I actually don't know anybody who really doesn't enjoy having a little cash to invest in a piece of property and attract an industry. I don't know anybody that is not thinking that way. But here's faculty that aggressively try every day of their lives to write proposals and sell their ideas in order to get funding to do them. And here's money on the table with the purpose of having that partnership with somebody in the College of Business, with someone in information science and technology, and having that partnership be able to track the resources, sole purpose, get your idea a little closer to the marketplace. I think that it will create quite a transformation because faculty are eager to prove themselves as being those that can attract dollars for their ideas. Okay, we will have the first faculty scholar medal that is focused on rewarding and recognizing faculty. This is one of the highest honors we get, rewarding and recognizing faculty for economic development and entrepreneurship. So again, this isn't just something where you sit there and, hey, here's the teaching award, here's the research award. This is an award that recognizes you for sitting there consciously thinking that your idea belongs into the marketplace. Again, an interesting way in which we're changing the internal dynamics of the university. I'm telling everybody, participate in your communities. Participate in partnerships in your communities. And it includes here, it includes Vernon State College, but everywhere Penn State is, and every place that Penn State touches, we should be actively involved in developing partnerships with our communities so that we can move forward. So this is a way of changing internally how Penn State operates. Entrepreneurs and residents to rub elbows with, grants and contracts that allow you to get through partnerships, get your ideas to the marketplace, recognition and reward for what you're doing, incentivizing partnerships that go outside of the university. Okay, the second part of what we need to do is to create visibility for our intellectual property. There's so much going on. How do you put your straw into it? Now, actually, people say that to me. How do I put my straw into Penn State? I don't actually say it that way, but I just have this picture of the straw going into Penn State and pulling something out of it. When I don't want someone to sit there and think about putting their straw into Penn State. I want somebody to sit there and think, wow, I have something to offer and Penn State has something to offer. We ought to be able to move forward. But we cannot do that if you can't see us. If you don't know what we're doing and you don't see what the opportunity is. And many times we don't even see what the opportunity is. And sometimes we really see what the opportunity is. So come fall of 2016, we will have a first major IP fair. Now you can imagine being able to walk through the ideas of an $800 million research gorilla and see where it is that you might connect with it. We have all sorts of programs within the colleges, campuses, that help kickstart a company. $500, $2,000. Recognition for what people are doing. But I tell people, I don't think anybody's started a company on $500 since the early 1900s. So we have to do more. So part of this IP fair will be a competition with $250,000 on the table. Think on the average of 5 awards. And this is basically saying, you're coming into this arena, you're describing what it is that you have as ideas, and now as a reward and recognition and assistance, here's some funds to help you get started and to move forward. Okay. So now we start to incentivize it. My bet is we'll have a lot of our alumni that will add to that. Governor in a different state, I was spending some time talking to him because he was giving money to a university in a different state rather than in his state. And I was trying to encourage them. He said, you need $1 million every year. $1 million on the table to recognize and reward companies and kickstart the ideas coming out of your university. $250,000 is there. $1 million ought to be what that target is. Maybe it'll end up to be more. We need to attract capital for all these young companies. But it's very hard for a public institution to make an investment and make a bet. So I tell people this. What is the failure rate of startups coming out of Stanford? I'll bet it's 70 to 90%. Have you ever heard of a Stanford failure? If Penn State picked a company and invested in it and it went belly up, do you think it would be in the newspaper? I guarantee you I would hear about why it was that we used a tuition dollar, even though it might not be one. Why does we use a tuition dollar and made a bet on a company that failed? How could we have been so stupid? Okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean we should shy away from promoting all of this economic development coming out of Penn State? No, from my viewpoint, what it means is we need to facilitate investment in this intellectual property. We need some partners that we can interact with that help cull those ideas and help promote investment and help draw in investors in order to be successful. And we can do that with partnership. Then again, that ingenious power of partnership, and we spent 2 hours yesterday talking with a company in terms of the potential to move forward along those directions. But here's another thing we could do. Imagine a web page, Penn State branded, that the business plans coming out of Penn State, the ideas from students and faculty, get to be posted on those pages, and our alumni and friends get the first look by signing on. And you see idea after idea after idea. And all of a sudden, angel investors and venture capitalists have insight into what Penn State ideas are there, and they can begin to invest in those companies. So Penn State acts as the facilitator, not the investor. Although you can imagine with foundations and with gifts from alumni that we may move into that realm where we can actually have investing in startups be a part of our educational portfolio. Not on a tuition dollar, but on a private dollar. But start to imagine. Now, I will tell you, not that I want to pick on the media, but basically, good stories are not what you get to read about. As a matter of fact, I tell people the top 3 stories are sports, severe weather, and some major controversy. So all we have to do is have a football player do something controversial in the middle of a severe thunderstorm, and Penn State's out there full bore, okay? Not the positive things. Quite frankly, people's faith in public higher education is going downstream, not because it is going downstream, but because you simply cannot read a good story about public higher education. So now imagine if every day that you wanted to sign on, you saw one idea, great idea coming out of Penn State after another. I think it would transform the way you would think about Penn State. And at the same time, it would facilitate investment in all these great ideas coming out of our institution. So think about here, change the culture inside the institution, change that sense of partnership, incentivize it. Now add this visibility through IP fairs, through competitions, through branded web pages, through partnerships with other companies that help attract and facilitate investment. Third part, we need an ecosystem for all these companies that have the potential to come out of Penn State. So imagine now that we set up at a campus, near campus, at a Commonwealth campus, at University Park, elsewhere, a place, physical place, partnership with the community that becomes boot camp, incubator, opportunity. So I'll give you an example. In University Park, we've leased the Verizon building, and if you happen to know what that's like in State College, and in will come people that are selected because they've gotten one of these awards through the competition, or they've done IST Startup Week and they've been chosen for the Summer Founders Program. Welcome, come in, this space is free. I talked to a young entrepreneur and they say, I spent a month setting up my company online for all the legality. Meanwhile, the College of Law goes all over the state mentoring people. So College of Law says, wait a minute, we'll come right into this space and we will help all these young entrepreneurs set up their companies. That way they don't have to pay for legal services and they don't do it themselves, and they can focus their attention on making their company successful instead of doing all those bits and pieces. So imagine mentoring on getting capital, mentoring on setting up your business, mentoring in terms of the legal part of it. And the space is free for a period of time. Then it starts to become much easier to think, you know, I ought to start my company here, rather than going out to Silicon Valley or some other place which is incredibly expensive. And this is what we want. We want them to start here, if we can. I will be enormously proud of every successful student, no matter where they go in the world. But I'm going to be extra proud if that student sees Pennsylvania as a place to grow their business and to grow their idea. So that's part of what that objective is, to walk across the street. Now, Altoona has the Sheets effort. 6 of our Commonwealth campuses were successful in getting $50,000 a year each to build those types of activities within their communities. And this is the message to the Chancellor. Be a partner with your community. Be a partner with your community and promote solving all sorts of different problems or starting your company. And incidentally, many of our alumni have said, how can I help? How can I help? Well, this part of it we stole from the University of Michigan. And basically, they have their alumni come in, sign up for a day a month, come in for a week, and they have an enormous amount of enjoyable time because they come into this incubator, accelerator environment, and they're talking to the students and faculty that are starting companies, and they just get really excited, and they turn out potentially to be investors. Okay, then what else do we need? I need to be able to pass these companies off to somebody, okay? I don't want this space that we just described on any campus. I literally want the student or faculty member to walk off campus and feel they're creating their companies in the community, not creating their company on campus. This is why it's so important to me that the Altoona campus is downtown, why each one of these Commonwealth campuses in the state, and we will do more, this is just the beginning, each one of these campuses are sitting there looking in the community how to make Penn State more part of the community in solving these particular issues. But I know I need to be able to pass them off. I need to be able to pass them off to you because you're ready and able and have the space and aren't going to charge them $31 a square foot lease and pass through, because they're not going to be successful in that environment. And they're going to go rent someplace in some other city and think that they can have the capital because their community didn't welcome them. Okay, so that's the third part. How do we create the ecosystems around this state in partnership with Penn State that enables these young companies to be successful? Am I still okay? You want the fourth part?
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay. Students become an interesting phenomenon, full of energy, incredible ideas that they have. And it's interesting that universities, of course, they're not our employees, we don't own their IP. So a lot of people sit there and think, oh yeah, you're successful, that's great. By the way, you're so successful, would you mind giving a donation and give back? I think we have an obligation to instill that type of spirit and success in all of our students, as well as to make it easier for them, even though we don't own their IP. Now, Penn State can stop and sit there and think, you know, we're pretty good at this. Princeton Review says our career services is the best, bar none, in the country. Every business magazine out there says Penn State's the place to recruit. Penn State's the place to go to school to get a career. More than 1,500 companies came to Penn State to recruit that we know of in recruiting fairs. 9,000 interviews that they did. Company after company comes and says, we've narrowed the list of people, list of schools that we're recruiting at, Penn State's at the top. Over and over again, these companies are in the top 5, top 6, top 3. Companies like Siemens USA tell me more new employees from Penn State than any other university in the country, and I hear it from multiple companies. And what they tell me is they're smart, they have communication skills, they work hard, they understand problem solving, all good things. And then what you discover is the reason why they're really there is because they don't feel entitled. They don't come in there and say, you know, this benefit package isn't good enough for me. Instead, they say, yeah, great, that's wonderful, that's a great job, I'm going to work hard and climb that ladder. And the companies tell me that this attitude that a Penn State student has, combined with the exceptional quality of the degree, make us the perfect hunting ground for corporations. We could sit back and relax. This is obviously a good story. Maybe I don't need this fourth part here if these students are doing very well. Okay? And not only that, we're networked, right? 30,000 alumni in this region alone. Okay? So with such a network and have a student graduate and be able to come to another Penn Stater and bump into another Penn Stater, that's a leg up in getting a job. Maybe we should just relax on this part. I don't want to relax on this part. So here's the idea. History major. A lot of parents say, really, you're going to be a history major? The history majors do all right in the market. And they do all right in the market because they have good communication skills and good problem solving skills. Those companies are snapping up those history majors. That's fascinating, okay? But I will guarantee you that history major does not think they're going to be a historian when they finish that degree. They're going to go off into some business somewhere. So why not advantage them? So at Penn State, any undergraduate in any major can get a minor in business. We're basically investing in the faculty to advantage what our students are doing anyway. You love history, you're going to have great communication skills, you're going to have great problem-solving skills, but let me advantage you. You can get a minor in entrepreneurship. You can take all the basic business classes while you're at it. How many parents would relax? I'm going to be a history major, Dad? Oh, what? And then you say, but I'm going to get a minor in business while I'm at it. Oh, there's a little bit of pressure. Easy talking. But I don't actually think about it from the viewpoint of the parent. I think about it as advantaging the path that a student takes anyway. Okay? All right. I also think every student should walk into a major eyes wide open. What's the unemployment rate? What kind of job opportunities do you have? And above all else, the most important thing is, if you come out of that major, what happens to a Penn Stater? Then, when you have eyes wide open, I think it has an impact in terms of the way you think and the types of degrees that you take. But I also want a student foundation, a student innovation foundation. I want the money that's sitting there deliberately and the mentoring that's sitting there deliberately even outside of the classroom, so that someone doesn't see the student coming along and all of this ecosystem we're talking about and all of this facilitating we're talking about and say, well, you're on your own, we don't really own your IP, so we're not going to make that investment in you. I'd like to see this type of student innovation foundation be there so the students get even special care to help them explore their ideas and think about it and decide what to be successful. Okay, now, if we do this right, if we can incentivize change, the culture within an institution, and frankly, someone said we always worry about change, but I think our faculty are really ready for this. But if we can change how Penn State thinks and operates in this space, that's a good part of it. If we can create visibility for our intellectual property, that's a huge part of it. If we can change an ecosystem with the communities that we touch, this is a big part of it. And if we can change the opportunities for students and what occurs for them, that becomes a big part of it. At that point, I don't want to come to Harrisburg and tell you on the economic impact of Penn State. I don't want to come in there, 2009 survey that said we had a $16 billion impact in 2009 on the economy of Pennsylvania, the largest single impact of any one entity in the state of Pennsylvania. I don't want to say that. I want to come to Harrisburg, and I want to go to Washington, and I want to go to you and say, I'm not going to talk about our economic impact. I'm going to talk about the degree to which Penn State drives the economy. Because these ideas are designed for us to drive the economy and create jobs, and for us to feel that this creation of jobs and driving the economy is a part of our DNA. And if we do this right, we'll be educating students right on the cutting edge of these fields, and they will follow that intellectual property right into the marketplace, into good jobs. That should be the strategy. Drive the economy, create jobs, educate students at that cutting edge, and have those students follow that intellectual property right into great jobs within our communities. And as I said, I'm going to be incredibly proud no matter where they go and no matter how successful they are. But I'm going to be particularly proud if they decide in Bedford County or in Altoona or in State College that because of our attitude and because of the investments we're making, this is the home for where I want to start my company.